didn't go public yet. Okay.
Come on. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here this evening. From myself and the guys here on the farm, we all want to say good evening to you all, and we hope that you had a lovely day. It's I've been sitting here and I've just been thinking, this whole day I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? Because I've decided last night that he must all ask me, and I thought about it myself. I must go live this evening, And not to go live for publicity or for anything else. I think the most important thing, I'm sitting here this evening, is most importantly for myself and for my sobriety first, you know. If I put anything above my sobriety, I'm going to fall. Because like I've always said, and there is a saying in recovery, that sobriety has given me everything that drugs and alcohol promised me. It has given me everything that friends promised me. It has given me everything my family promised me. People promised me, money promised me, jobs promised me. You know, and those are all good things and it's fine, but without my sobriety, I might as well just get up from his chair, not give a meeting, and instead of sitting here and selling false hope. And if I am doing that, then I might as well pick up the phone now and phone my mother and ask her to phone the funeral company to book a place for me, if I am in a funeral policy or not. But however, I think I'm grateful that I'm sitting here and I'm clean and sober. I'm grateful to be on a place like RAEL. I'm grateful to be surrounded by a bunch of guys, people, Auntie Leslie, Uncle Malcolm that's here, that are just striving to do something better in life and not being selfish for themselves, but to offer and to give back to the world with everything that's going on in our world. I think it has made people very miserable. It has made people very bitter. And obviously, with what our country is heading towards, there's a lot of depression going around. And what do people turn to? You know, there's someone this evening that's taking their first drug that doesn't know that they're going to be an addict. And there's someone this evening that's also busy taking their last drug and might be closing their eyes forever and paying the ultimate price. And that's why I'm grateful to be around Auntie Leslie, because the first-hand experience of having a mother that has, you know, that had a son that paid the ultimate price, which a seat that I'm sitting in is paid by blood. And to have that experience and to be surrounded by that type of love, when she sees us and she sees the guys, you know, doing well and doing what they have to do, it warms her heart. And it brings tears to her eyes, and not tears of sadness or anything like that, but tears of happiness. And she's very close to the guys. Sis, young Gary, you go boy, 2 years tomorrow, I like it. Well done on the milestone, my brother. It's very important to celebrate your milestone. I think a milestone is more important than my birthday. It's more important than any day. Because God has once again carried me through another year to be clean and sober without picking up on any mood or mind-altering substance, or even not even being influenced by any emotional instability in a relationship or anything that might have caused me to fall and being influenced like that. And that's what RAEL, and that's what we taught and we learn here at RAEL, with the program that's been put into place, with our spiritual pastors coming in, our one-on-one spiritual counseling sessions that we have, our 12-step meetings that we have, from myself, from Lincoln, from the topic meetings that the guys bring as well, our church on a Sunday, and most importantly, our devotions every morning. We are taught that we can make decisions without being influenced by any of those factors that I mentioned, and to be clean and sober and not be double-minded in anything that we do, because we know what the Bible says: if you're double-minded, you will be unstable in all your ways. And that's the meeting I'm going to bring this evening, not on that basically. So we've all heard of the 12 steps, and then we've heard of the 12 steps of insanity, and then we've heard of the 12 traditions, and obviously let us not forget the 12 concepts of AA and NA as well. But when some of us step into recovery and sobriety, and it gets told to us, you know, just stick it out, just push it through, you don't know what's coming, and it will be lekker. At that time, at that moment, when I came through the doors, when I stepped into recovery, for the first time even, and when I came to RAEL also for the first time, when it got told to me, you know, just stick it out, just push it through, it's not that bad. At that time, I couldn't see the bigger picture, because I wanted that instant gratification on things. And it made me more trippy, man. It made me, they call it FOMO, you know, fear of missing out, and also the part of future tripping. and not living in the here and now. When someone had told me at that time in my first month or my first day in a NA or AA meeting or in a recovery center, in a treatment center or wellness center that look, it's gonna get better, I never believed them. I never believed them because I had no, obviously, sobriety. I had no beliefs. The only thing I could believe in was drugs. Um, I didn't believe what they were saying because I was empty inside. I was spiritually dead. I was emotionally dead, mentally dead as well. I was decaying slowly, and that's what happened to us in active addiction. We were killing ourselves slowly, and in that process that we were doing that, we were taking our families down a dark road that they had no choice to walk down with us. They never asked for us, they never wanted this type of lifestyle, but they had no choice to go through that with us, and it was hard for them, and it can still be hard for them while we are in recovery as well, because at the same time, while I am here, remember, I have a mother that's a mother of 2 addicts. My sister recently, we got some news about it that wasn't so liquor that came out of hospital, and I told my mother, your mom, not for self-pity or feeling sorry or anything. All I want for you is just to live your life, I think that you've neglected or put things down to see to myself and Daniel. And at the same time, with me still being here of the things that I took my mom through, she's still healing of it. The same way I'm busy healing while I'm here as well. And with everything that we taught and that we learned here on RAEL when it comes to the life skills of how to live our life sober, free, to enjoy ourselves. I took what I've been taught. I took what I've been taught here and learned here, and I took it outside. And when I go home, I practice it to the best of my ability. And obviously, in the beginning, it's a bit tough, but eventually, you find the balance, and that's what we try and get while we're in recovery. And the scales only start balancing after a certain amount of time. But at that time in the beginning, when you're in early recovery and in early treatment, you don't want to go through that process, You just want the rewards to come your way. And that's my meeting this evening. I'm going to speak on the 12 promises and 12 rewards of AA and NA. And it's hope that a message that's carried to us from people that are in recovery like Mr. Wall. And when you come to the farm, and it's been told to us in meetings, and maybe at that time I sat in a meeting when Mr. Wall told me, don't worry, you're gonna get a job and you're gonna see your son again, you're gonna get your son back, because obviously the mother of my child never wanted me to see my son because of the condition I was in, of the state I was in. I was not capable or fit to be a father, because that's how unmanageable my life was, and I was in denial about it, because I used to justify my actions, whether I worked for money to pay for his nappies or I stole for money to pay for nappies. In my mind, I was just, no, I'm at least paying for something, so I need to see my son. However, the most important thing to me at the time, I couldn't enjoy moments with my son. At that time in active addiction, I had to have a fix in my body. I couldn't enjoy normal family time or going out events without having my fix, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, man. And if it's heroin at the time, then it's heroin at the time, But I think most importantly, I couldn't live my life. I couldn't see my life without any drugs and alcohol. I thought life without drugs and alcohol is boring. It's a bitter life, it's miserable. Meanwhile, me being on that stuff made me a bitter person. It made me someone I didn't want to be. And it made me someone I ended up not liking at the end of the day. And when I came into treatment, obviously in early recovery, because I never liked myself, how am I gonna like the next person? The only thing I liked about the next person in early recovery is what they could offer me, is what they could give me. And if they couldn't give me anything that was a next benefit, because that's behavior that I come in with, then no, then I don't sit with you. Then I don't have a conversation with you, and I don't want anything from you. Instead, I'll be sitting across from you, and I'll be sitting there with a closed mind judging you, but not knowing that me and you are here in for the same reason, because our lives are unmanageable and we want something better out of life, and we want to build our life up. But I'll first sit one side and have a very ugly defect of character and sit there with a judgmental mentality. Because that's what I said in my first rehab that I went to. I wouldn't end up like that person that went to prison. I wouldn't end up like that person that broke into houses or stole things or robbed people. And then 5 years down the line, I ended up like that person. I ended up being that person that influenced people to get hooked on drugs. Forcing them to use as well. So the first promise that AA does give you and NA does give you is that it gets told to you that if you are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. This promise states that people who complete the AA or the NA program and make a sincere effort will begin to see changes in their lives even before it's halfway done. Now, with me, when I explain be with me on early recovery, not even halfway through, I want to see those changes in the beginning already, because I've walked in the gate with some sort of entitlement, and because I'm doing the next right thing now, I came to treatment, so my mother must buy me this, Mr. Wall must give me that, Auntie Leslie has to do this because the world owes me now. That's the type of mentality that I have, and it's still sick, because the world doesn't owe me anything. In actual fact, with the spiritual awakening I have because of working all 36 steps in my life, that spiritual awakening has allowed me to give back. I have more to offer than to take. But it took a while for me to find that out. I had to finish my 12 steps. I had to listen to my sponsor, that is Mr. Wolf. I had to do what people in recovery does. And ultimately I had to surrender to God and hand over my will to Him, because I wanted to only surrender selective parts in my life, but the other parts I wanted to hold on for myself, and I found that it never worked for me. And somewhere along the line, as time went by, yeah, it was okay in a temporary amount of sort of stability at the time, but eventually that feeling again came back, and I thought, what am I doing wrong? And I had to go back and take my inventory, and I found out that I'm still holding on to things. And I still have defects of character, of entitlement. And most importantly, the most disgusting thing I can sit or might have had at that time is have an ungrateful nature and not appreciate things being done for me because I think it's owed to me. And that type of mentality never brought me far in life. It surrounded me around people I didn't want to be. And most importantly, it made me someone that I didn't like. But when I started applying and doing the things, changes did start to occur. And it was small changes that happened for me. It was changes where please and thank you came out of me. Changes of how I folded up my clothes and made my bed up. The cleanness about myself. And how I started treating other people with respect. Those type of awakenings happened to me. And then motives of why I'm doing something for them without expecting anything back in return. Now in the beginning, when I was trying to do the right thing and I was really honest and genuine about it, people still thought at the back of their minds, and they're still probably thinking this at the back of their minds, and it's always going to be that way. I've accepted it, that this bra hasn't changed. He's still going to be the same, and that's how it is. But at the same time also, the motive of behind of what I was doing was seeking approval. And this evening I don't sit here seeking anybody's approval. If I don't approve and I'm not happy with the things that I'm busy doing, then I have to make a change about it. I cannot blame other people for if I'm not happy about things about myself, because that's where self-esteem comes from. Listen to the word, it's self-esteem, not mommy's esteem, not RAEL's esteem, not Mr. Anthony Hall, David, or esteem. It's not Auntie Leslie's, it's self-esteem. So if my self-esteem is low, it's got to do with myself. I have to do something about it and make a change to lift it up and not build it on temporary things or on materialistic things. Ultimately, when I started working it in a spiritual perspective, things on the inside started happening to me. And it's like I told the guys the other morning, is that my spirit still get convicted. A scenario specifically is like today when I was with Auntie Leslie outside in town and we went to go buy something. I stood with something in my hand, and this is gospel truth. They thought we paid for everything. The lady at the counter added up everything, but I stood with something in my hand that never went through the scanners, and I only realized afterwards, after we paid, and I said, sorry ma'am, here's something here that still needs to be scanned. And she scanned it. Now I could have kept quiet and I could have walked out with it. Some people get a kick out of it. I used to get a kick out of doing things like that, you know, because that's what I love, for the thrill, and then walked away thinking I got away with it. But inside of me, I know I'm messing with my spiritual condition, and it convicted me at that time. And obviously we paid for it and we left in an honest way. And now I sit here this evening not having any guilt or shame, because I'm sensitive to things like that. And I never thought it would happen to someone like me, to be someone like that, to become the person that I am, that has more to offer and more to give back than to take. Because obviously with a low self-esteem, when I come in early recovery, I feel worthless. I feel like I'm nothing. And halfway down the line, obviously, after I applied this program to the best of my ability, those type of things did stand out for me. And I became willing to be helpful to other people. And it's the best feeling ever to give back. It's better than any money or anything a woman can give me, or any drug and alcohol can give me, is to be of service to the next person, whether it's my family, whether it's someone I don't know, a stranger, or whether it's someone that's seeking recovery and want what I have. It's the best feeling ever. It keeps me sober at the end of the day. And now I know what it means that halfway down the line, the penny did drop for myself. And I sit with this peace and that serenity that I put my head on the pillow with, and I wake up in the morning with. It's the best feeling ever, because there were some mornings in active addiction I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to go through the same things over and over again. But that was the insanity of my disease. You know, whether I liked it or not, I might have been in a different place, but the same things were still happening there when I was using. You know, so when we come here and we complete the AA with the NA, with the sincere effort, listen to the word, the sincere effort being put in, meaning the honest effort. The effort has to come from my side. I can't sit back and expect everything to be done for me. I have to put the effort in, because I was willing enough to walk the extra mile to go get my next fix, because I was so honest with myself. Okay, I'm gonna use now, open-minded enough. If Ricky tells me, nah, Eddie, don't worry, look here, the drugs here on this side of the place is not liquor, let's go to Ceres, it's better there. And I scheme, okay, I'm open-minded to that suggestion, and I became willing to walk all the way from Cape Town to Ceres to get that fix. The same type of mentality I have to apply in my recovery as well. That's how the honesty, the open-mindedness, and the willingness works, the how of the program. And then when you move on to the second promise, it tells us that we're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. Wow, what a great relief that is. Now in the beginning, when it gets told to me that you're going to know a new freedom and happiness, I'm scheming, why are you so happy, brother? What you happy about? Yeah, I'm sitting here, 1 day sober, 1 week sober in early recovery. I can't smile. Why is Angus smiling the whole time? Why are they laughing? You know what they're laughing at? I'm bitter. I don't like myself. I don't like the way my toe looks. I don't like the way my ears are. I don't like anything about myself. Now I see another buddy here on the phone. I don't want to mention a name, but I see another buddy and I ask him, nah, but look how he look, you know? He's also not right, man. I don't like the place. I don't believe in this new freedom, this new happiness, man. There's no such thing as that. The only thing that's gonna make me happy is to roll and turn. Roll and brand. That's the only thing that's gonna make me for away and face the day and be okay. But that's not the truth. Because that is what our disease tells us. It only reminds us of the happy parts of us using it. Doesn't remind us of the part when we slept alone on the streets, if you slept on the streets. Doesn't remind us the part when our mothers were in tears and they were begging us to come right. Our fiancés, our girlfriends, our children were in tears begging us to come right. And if they weren't in tears, some family members showed it in an aggressive way. You know, that they just want us to come right, put us out and ruk and pluck us. You know, because they couldn't handle it and take it anymore. But it get told to us that we will know a new freedom and a new happiness. And ultimately, that's what I love for what RAEL stands for, is being reunited back with your family. I think when I got my first visit on the farm after I threatened my mother's life to take a life, and I would have taken a life. I was in denial about it in the beginning, but rigorously honest, I would have done it for my next fix. When I sat down and I had a conversation with her on our first visit, there was no arguments. There was no stray. We never even spoke about what had happened. All my mother wanted to know is, how am I doing now? Am I fine? Am I okay? This place is a lovely place. She's so grateful Mr. Hall did this for me. I need to be grateful for what I have and just focus and not worry about the things on the outside. Those type of conversations we had. Not about, do you remember when you took this and you owe me that, and I'm going to put you in prison because you don't want to listen. It wasn't a conversation like that. And that's what RAEL stands for, to be reunited back with your family. And that was some sort of freedom that I had and hope in the program when that happened for me. When I had that seeing in my visit with my family and a phone call with my family as well. And then it says people who finish the steps will experience a relief from suffering from addiction and feel free to pursue new life without alcohol or drugs. And that's exactly what we get taught here. That's why we have all the life skills and the thing being put into place here, so that you can learn to develop a life and go to work without being under the influence, without thinking I need to have a fix before I can do that. You know what I mean? Because before we came here, we couldn't function properly without drugs. We need to have that at any cost. And this evening I sit here, I don't need those things to be smiling. I don't need those things, to be someone I don't want to be, or pretend to be someone. I don't need to wear a mask this evening. I honestly can sit here this evening saying that I'm at peace and I'm happy with what I had accomplished thus far in my life. If I should close my eyes, God forbid it doesn't happen, but if I should, I would know my heart is in the right place and it's genuine. That's importantly the best freedom I have this evening. Nothing a job can give me, nothing money can give me or people can give me. It ultimately comes from God and having that relationship with Him. Then the third promise, it says that we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. Now in the beginning, because there's one or two here and they know what I'm talking about, that wallows in self-pity because he's laughing. And we come into the gates. Yara, I don't think I can stay here longer. I have to get home. My mother can't go on without me. Or my son, all of a sudden I get the light bulb. Hey, my son needs me. I need to go home. Alright, let's make the phone call. So I can't be here any time. I need to get back home now. I've been here 1 week. This is the best place. There's nothing wrong with it. But I have to go home now. My family needs me. And then Mr. Hall told me, but Adrian, in active addiction, your family still went on with their life. They still got up, they still went to work. Tony, the mother of my child, who was my fiance at that time, still takes care of my son. Still folded up his clothes, done his washing, done her washing, cleaned the house, went to work, paid for him, did what she had to do while I was out there drugging, sleeping around, doing, silly things that silly people like an addict like myself does. And now all of a sudden, the entitlement of thinking that I'm right, no, I have to go back home. And obviously Tony told me straight, look, if you want to come home early before your time is finished, you're not coming here. Because it's been 7 years that it's up and down with you. There's no change in you. And I'll keep your son away from you. And I thought, how can you do that? Why are you being so hard and harsh to me? And it's not because she's a bitter person. It's because I made her so. because of what I took her through. Do you understand? It's because what I took my mother through, so I couldn't go there as well. Because I had to come right, I had to fix myself. So after 1 week being sober, I can't take the whole world on my shoulders and get a job and think that I'm functioning properly and okay. Because their lives still go on and they fine and okay. They built for it. They, in actual fact, through everything that they still taking care of, they still had to take care of us. Because we weren't capable of taking care of ourselves. And they saw to that and made sure that that was done. So it says here that those who work the program will gain a sense of acceptance that allows them to process their experiences, learn from them, and move on without guilt. And it was difficult in the beginning. Because the more and the longer I was in recovery, I started remembering things and I started writing my life story and doing my step 4, and things came out that I didn't want to scratch in, that I made a memory of and put there at the back and didn't want to think of at all. But those things had to come out eventually, and I shared it with, obviously, with Mr. Hall, him being my sponsor, and I opened up about it. And I never knew that in order for me to heal, I have to write about it and share about it with someone that I trust. I thought the only way I can heal is just to, not talk about it. Not write about it. I don't have to do it. That's fine. I'm actually okay with it. But deep down I wasn't, because if I was fine and okay with it, I wouldn't be, so bitter or have those defects of character that were still surfacing so many a times, or be a miserable person. So the evidence of me not being okay was there, obviously, and staring me in my face, and I had to do something about it. And besides ultimately sharing it with someone that I trust, I got in contact with God. I can't tell you how it happened. I can't tell you who led me to the Lord. It's a woman that's named Auntie Karen. She was also on the farm. Very spiritual till this day. In her presence, you can feel you are in the presence of holiness as well. And she obviously led me to the Lord and taught me how to pray and taught me how to build my spiritual relationship with God. But I never thought it would happen for me. Because before I started believing in God, I first believed in the program, and ultimately this program led me to the Lord eventually. And that's what the last promise does speak about when I get to it. But it's God that got me through that time and still gets me through the time without holding on to any guilt. In actual fact, the guilt that I held on to actually turned into something with the help from God, turned it into something so powerful that I can be sitting here this evening and carrying the message to someone that is struggling with that same guilt, to tell them I know the way out. I know how to get rid of it, but you have to do something, my brother. There are just certain things you have to do to get rid of it. And that's what I've turned that guilt into. I've turned it into hope this evening. God turned it into hope for me ultimately. And that's what keeps me in a healing process to move on from that guilt, to help someone else that's in the same boat, and to see how they get out of it also, with my help and ultimately with the help from God and obviously Mr. Hall and RAEL, because that's what I've been taught here. I still went home when I was at home this weekend for my birthday, and I saw an acquaintance of mine that I used drugs and alcohol with. He lost both his parents. And recently now in this year, he lost his mother. Last year, 2 years ago, he lost his dad. So it's only him and his girlfriend in the house. And because I know how swart it is for them, I went to the shop and I went to go buy them something, something small that I know housely necessity needs. And I gave it to him, and he had a shock on his face. He was like, "Oh, where does this come from?" Someone like me coming back and giving back. And it's because of what I've been taught here. Never to forget where I come from, and obviously that awakening that I have to share and to give back. I never said much to him. I apologized for his loss. And I just carried the message of hope to him, and that put a smile on his face, and he could see now that there is people, that has changed their life for the better and not for the worse. And that's the best part of moving on from that guilt. It's doing things like that. And that's how I do not hold on to guilt, and I do not hold on to self-pity, and I don't sit here feeling sorry for myself. I can't do this for myself because of this and this and this. I'm finished and tired of those excuses. If I want to be a millionaire, then I must get up from my ass and work hard to be that millionaire. If I want to be successful in life, then I have to get up from my ass and do something about it and be successful in life. Ultimately, if I want to stay sober, because to walk into a treatment center and to drop the drugs and alcohol is very easy. Anybody can do it. But the maintenance comes in to stay sober, because to do discovery happens here, but when I leave here, that's when recovery happens. Then I see where I'm really at with my recovery. Then I see where I'm really at. And the unwritten laws ultimately of recovery is obviously with me not being in a relationship, because my family asked me, and obviously random people has asked me, especially feminine, why don't you have a girlfriend? I can be your girlfriend, or I can do this, and it's all good things, and it's fun, and I know it will come one day, but I'm just not ready for it now. I don't want a relationship now. I love myself too much. I'm just selfish like that, I don't want to share it yet with anybody besides my family and my son. That's fine and okay, but to be in a relationship now, there's still certain things I have to work on, and I'm not ready for it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's not because there's anything wrong with the next person, and it's not also because there's something wrong with me. It's just that I'm taking the time to learn to nurture and love myself more, and get to know myself better also, so that I know eventually when I do step into a serious relationship with a female, that I'll be at my full conscious, I'll be operating liquor, and I'll be on a strong, solid sobriety. And that's why I have these type of boundaries put in place for myself to move on and move forward in life. And the many others that come with it as well, but those were just one of the examples that I speak about. And if you move on to the fourth promise, it speaks about we will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. Now, what is peace for you? In the beginning, peace for me was having luxuries, money in my tuck shop, inches, visits from my family, a job, one day money, being the limelight, the center of attraction. If you rolled one car, I rolled 7 cars. There was no grandiosity in my recovery. I always had to be the better person, better than the next person. And I didn't understand what serenity or peace meant at the time. And as time went by, because then I started noticing when the pub was finished, or when the luxuries was clear, and the tuck shop never came through, and obviously maybe consequences got put into place where I never got a phone call or something because of certain actions that happened, then it's not good enough. Yeah, then the place isn't there. Something wrong with Mr. Hall, something wrong with RAEL. Yeah, mommy, look here, the place isn't right, mommy. I can't stay here anymore. And then my mom would be like, but just last week you were telling me that it's the best place since anything happened, What's different now? No, mommy, I don't have pap and sugar, man. I wanna come home. Pap and sugar? Is pap and sugar and luxuries and money on your property or clothing gonna keep you clean or sober? I don't think so, Because the moment when those things are taken away from you, when you're stripped away from anything, when you're stripped away from your job, what are you? When you're stripped away from all those things, when it does eventually go up, money, cars, what are you? I know what I am sitting here this evening, besides being a king's kid. You know what I mean? I know what I am, but in the beginning I struggled with identity. But I came to find what I am worthy of. And I love myself enough for that. But that's because I built my recovery on materialistic things. On things that I thought was going to get me through life. And it didn't. Maybe made life much more easier, yeah. But it didn't. But I come from the old school. And luxuries doesn't, what is this? There's a comment here, luxuries. Sisyo. Cowboy. Okay, I can't see the comments, it is freezing. But yeah, luxuries and those things didn't give me the freedom that I was looking for. Ultimately, the program did, and RAEL did, obviously, but mostly God did. God brought me that freedom and that serenity, that peace, that knowing that, I'm calm and I'm happy with what I have. Can you sit here this evening with you on the other side of the screen and tell yourself, you know what, I'm at peace and I'm happy with what I have. If you're sitting here this evening in this room and you're not feeling that yet, the promise says that it will come, but you have to do something about it then. Because what you're basing it on is not going to be given to you. You know what? The joy and the peace and the happiness I sit with. Yes, my son does make me happy, but God makes me more happy. God made me more happy. He's given that to me. And because I'm happy with what I have, I've learned to share that back and give it with a pure heart, with a pure motive, and not to expect anything back in return. Not to expect anything back in return. And it says that addiction can lead to a constant state of inner turmoil. And that's exactly what was happening inside of us, We weren't feeling lekker, It wasn't a lekker feeling inside. Obviously outside I was done. I was so raak gepak, I looked like my cheeks was like a skateboard ramp. You could do tricks in it with a trick board, with a fingerboard, you know what I mean? So on the outside I was already done, but mostly inside, I was, uneasy. There was always a battle and a fight inside of me. So the NA and the AA programs helps us to find the calmness that is rare during active using and that many addicts have never known in their lives. And I've never known a life without drugs and alcohol. And I got taught that, And now that I've found it and I have it, I'm not willing to give it up for anything or anybody. That's correct, Gary. A luxury is sleeping in a bed, my brother. Some people like Cadbury until it's finished. Then they're not happy anymore. But that's a luxury, my brother. Because I used to sleep on the streets. Besides sleeping on the streets, I used to sleep in my auntie's garage. And then I used to leave early in the morning because just to make sure she doesn't see me there because I was too embarrassed. She wouldn't know I was there in the garage. She wouldn't know I jumped over the wall or nothing like that. I slept at the back of the house of the complex where my mother was staying because I know she lives out the front so she wouldn't see me because I couldn't come in. So obviously my drugs and my alcohol did humble me. I was just in denial about it. But now that I have things and these type of things in my life, like a simple cup of coffee or a simple hot shower or a bed to sleep in and a meal to eat in the evening, I'm grateful for things like that. Because the other day I didn't have it. But most importantly, there are people that are not even on drugs or alcohol that are going to bed without something to eat. Have you showed enough gratitude this evening? The fifth one says, no matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. Many addicts don't believe that other people understand what they've been through. But in NA or AA, they often meet people who can identify with and learn from the experience. And that's why we come together and we have meetings. Meetings are very important. That's one of the 5 pillars in recovery. Meetings. Maybe you go to a meeting and there's a guy talking a whole lot of nonsense maybe, and it's happened to me before. Because it does sometimes happen and you can't listen and you scream, what's this brat talk about? But you leave that meeting, if you're sitting there with an open mind, with something that he might have said that you could identify with, then you know you're at the right place. Because instead of looking at differences, we tend to focus on the similarities in the recovery. And one of those similarities is obviously us coming from emptiness and trying to better our lives as we are here. Not coming from, he did this. I'm not an addict like him. I'll never be like that. I'm better than him. I won't do the stuff he does. He's a bitchy, retrospectrical. I can't be around a bara like that. Now, when we focus on the similarities as where we come from nothing, obviously with unmanageability in our families' lives, they're not happy with the things we do. The similarities when we get reunited back with our family and they come and visit us while we are on the farm and they're happy when they leave from here. we look at that. Did you see the smile on my mom's face? Yo, my mom was so happy to see me. I was so happy to see my mom. I wasn't happy to see the bags that came with my mom. I was actually happy to see my mom. The sixth promise is the feeling of uselessness and self-pity would disappear. Addiction makes users feel worthless and guilty about their actions. The steps can give people a sense that their lives have a meaning and a purpose, particularly through helping others. And that's why RAEL stands for Recovering Addict Empowering Lives. Because that's what Mr. Hall done for me this evening. He empowered my life. And because my life has been empowered, I have to share it with the people around me to empower their life, so that they can go out and share it with the same people that are also battling and struggling. Because I've stepped out of isolation, I've stepped out of loneliness, and I've found my place in life. I found my calling in life. And it's not just to carry the message here on the RAEL farm, but to carry the message out there as well. Because the RAEL is not only here, RAEL is out there as well. And I carry the message to people that are not even addicts. How beautiful is that? Hey? That type of calling has been set on your life. And I remain obedient to it, because I know if I do not use these ears and listen to that calling, eventually I'm going to go down a road that I've already been down and that I don't like. So I remain humble and obedient to that calling. And I push through to that. The seventh promise tells us that we will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Addiction leads to many self-centered behaviors. Helping other people and find recovery can bring addicts outside of themselves and help them develop a genuine interest in other people. And that's what I see around here on the farm. With the people, despite that I'm working with or anything. Because when we do things together as a group, we get to know each other better. Now obviously we're a bunch of guys here, there's a lot of testosterone. But we all know the blacker the better, but that's fine. But there's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of things, that we tough with and we have a battle with. We wanna, show off that we have punches and stuff like that. But instead of me wanting to fight with the next person, why don't I see where I can help you? Or instead, before I can help you, maybe there's something that you can help me with. Am I open to things like that? Am I being of service to things like that? Because that's how I step out of self-centeredness, is to be of service. Am I being of service with a motive to get something back in return? Because then it's not service. The best reward I sit with this evening is knowing that I'm trying to help someone with a pure heart, with a genuineness, and the best reward comes back to me is to sit here, is that feeling of not being selfish anymore. Not just wanting, taking, but giving back. And that's how Mr. Hall is. I've never seen someone be a giver like Mr. Hall is. Despite the materialistic things, he doesn't like it when I speak about the kroon, but I want to speak about the kroon. Because he spent over R500,000 on my life alone, almost. Almost R500,000 on my life sitting here this evening. And you know what? That man doesn't ask for any cent back. All he wants to see is me be sober. Now I'm scheming Mr. Hall. I'm a colored young. To give R500,000 away, I must not tell Auntie Washila down the road about it. Sy gaan my sê, sy dan mal. Sy geld dan niet so weg nie. You know what I mean? Sy gaan beton het in jou kop. Sy kan my sy geld van my gegee dat ek sal my huis groter gebou het en my nuwe Rolex gekoop het. Of hoe? You know what I mean? But that man doesn't ask for anything like that. He just wants me to see, he just wants to see me make it in life. And to be a better person, And I think the best reward he gets this evening is to see me being here. Is to know that out of the genuineness of his heart and of his help that he's given me, that he has helped me a lot. A lot, and I'm forever grateful for that. He's helped many people. People that he doesn't even know. People that doesn't even know that he's helping them, he help. Because he doesn't have to throw it in your face or to point it out. Why must he boast about it? That's correct, yes. Susan, addiction has cost us millions. Yo, that's a true statement you make there. That's a true statement. Moving on to the 8th promise. Self-seeking will slip away. The tunnel vision of focusing only on oneself and drinking or drugging usually begins to fade as people work the steps. But self-seeking will slip away eventually. That's a feeling of relief, because me being self-seeking and self-centered has not worked for me in life. Because I tell you how God messes with self-centeredness. Okay, so when you're self-centered, you think you're in control. You think you're in control because you manipulate things to go your way. It goes your way. But now, God intervenes. And that thing that you think that you've manipulated is going to go your way, doesn't go your way that day. You scheme to yourself, nah, this isn't working for me, you know. If it's not my way, it's the gravel road, the highway. Keep it up, brother. You just keep it going, you know. And those are the ultimatums we gave our family, because that's how we held our family hostage. You know, mommy, if you're not going to do this, then I'm going to do that. Okay, you think I'm a drug addict? Now I'm going to show you. Do you think I'm a gangster? Now I'm going to show you what the gangster is. I'll show you what the gangster is. You're going to come home, you're not going to have anything in your house. Why must my own mother in her own home change the locks in her home and lock her room door? Yeah, that's being held hostage at the highest degree. Where the own security in the complex where you're living are too afraid to come and take you out the house because you're going on like a maniac. Because they know, now this price it's not liquor you upstairs, you know. Let's just leave him. And then my mother in an area like where I come from in Steenberg phones the cops. The cops doesn't rock up, but she phones the cops for me. And the Buddha does come, she opened up case against me. Because obviously I didn't want to listen to her, because she couldn't handle the way I was because of my self-centeredness and my self-seeking behavior. It was all about me, and what more I can get. Now I step with that same behavior into a place like this. All about me, and what I can get. And when those things that I get are finished, and I sit there in the devotions. Why is AD laughing the whole time? Why is Angus smiling? Why is Vena going on with life? Why is Vickers liquor, jolly, happy, singing, and I'm sitting here? When am I going to get more pop? I don't have tobacco.
When am I going to get my tobacco?
When am I going to get my tobacco? Tobacco lives matter. But brother, you cowboy.
Good enough.
But those are the self-seeking things that you build your life on, you know. Those materialistic things. I think with the 5 pillars in my life of what I built my life on, it has brought me the greatest peace and joy in my life that I could have ever asked for. Because God has never forsaken me. I know who I am to Him. And I know who He is to me. And that's what's important. Psalm 46 verse 10 says, be still and know that I'm God. Sometimes you just need to be quiet and humble yourself before Him. Because if things are not going your way, they are not supposed to go your way. That's it. Have you learned to accept the things you cannot change? And have you had the courage to change the things that you can? Cease you cowboy. That filters through from 16 years of uninterrupted sobriety. Thank you, Mr. O. The 9th promise is our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. AA and NA can shift one's perspective from hopeless to hope. People can begin to imagine a life where they are happy. Lekker, man. Not happy on materialistic things. Not happy on people. But happy with themselves, you know. happy with, peace, love, and happiness. Auntie Leslie loves that saying, we're all gonna have a lekker day, guys. It's gonna be peace and love. We're gonna push through this day, and you get one or two sitting there. What's this woman talking about? You know what I mean?
That's true.
Does she know I don't have cigarettes this morning? Does she know that I just used my last pop?
No sugar.
No sugar. Luxury bag.
And she still says, smile.
Where is the tobacco? And now she's telling me to smile. I can't be at peace with it. Sisho, you go. But our whole attitude eventually does change, and it only happens after quite some time when you stop hoping for things like that to come your way. Because I started looking at things and more of what this program has to offer me when I started letting go of reservations. Reservations is a very, very dangerous part of recovery that pops up anytime, no matter how long you've been sober. Because it can be at the back of your mind, you might think that this reservation is sorted and it's fine, I don't have to take care of it now. But the more you put it off, the more you rob yourself from the benefits this program has to offer you. And these are one of these benefits and rewards that it has to offer you. The life of being free. The life of being free. It's a lekker feeling to sit here free, knowing that I haven't caused any harm or any damage to anybody. I have no resentment towards anybody. I'm at peace and I'm happy with what I have. And I'm grateful that God has given me that spiritual awakening to carry the message and help other people. I found my calling and my purpose in life. Because I humbled myself before God and I became obedient to His calling. Obedience is the best reward. The best reward out of obedience is one of these things I'm speaking about. And it's blessings upon your life and your family's life as well. The 10th promise is fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. Alcoholics or addicts who recover from AA and they don't feel like they have to hide anymore, worry about how to support the addiction and maintain financial security. And that's what recovery here has taught me as the time went by, me being here. I can't tell you when the penny dropped for me, but eventually when I started doing the things that was in the literature and Mr. Hall told me to do, changes started occurring. I started to become employable again. Remember, because before I came here, I was unemployable. I didn't know how to keep a job. I knew how to get a job here because I was very glad with the mouth. Still am. I need some, what is that, butter or jam? You go put. But it's easy to get a car. It's easy to get clean. But to stay clean and to maintain that car is two different things, my brother. There are things that you have to do in your life. Have to take care of. And that's what it's being taught here for us. That fear of letting go. You know what, I don't have a job now, it's fine. Maybe I'm just not ready to work now. I have to sort myself out. Because God wants to give you the job. He wants you to be successful in life. He just has to go through some things to prepare you for that time. So that when it comes, you will know how to maintain it and keep it and to appreciate it. Not come too early and you just bugger it up once again. Because how many times didn't things come too early or things come our way and we took it for granted? This program has taught me to be grateful and appreciate what comes my way. Any small thing. Anything. And those things doesn't have to be in some form of I can see and touch. Because one of those gifts are when you have that feeling of a spiritual awakening or spiritual, you know how I know that God is around me or in my presence if I have that feeling or that thinking, hey, like I had today, I can't take this thing out the shop. It's a lekker feeling. Because I'm living honest, rigorously honest. I know I can get away with it though. But maybe nobody will know, but God will know. God will know. And that's where that peace and that serenity comes from, with those small, simple things. Recovery is done when nobody's watching. When nobody's looking at you. That's when you see where you are at in your recovery. And that's what I found, that fear of that not having anymore, that fear and not having that insecurity anymore. My financial status, I don't have a lot of money, not rich, but I'm fine and I'm okay with it. I have enough that can clothe my son. I have enough that can pay my way through life, pay my rent. I have enough that can help me, get through my daily things that I need to get through. And I'm fine and okay with that. I don't need more. And if I have more, I give it back. That's it. because it was freely given to me as well. The 11th problem speaks about is that we will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. Now that's a very good topic. Because still now, till this day, there are still some scenarios and some cases that I come across that still baffles me. But it doesn't baffle me so much like it did in the beginning when I was in early recovery. Because I've learned this program has taught me how to deal with those things and to get through those things without picking up on any drug or alcohol. As an NA or AA member gets deeper into the recovery process, they begin to see situations more clearly and can tap into the inner resources. Those inner resources are obviously your connection and your spiritual connection with God, obviously praying about it and asking for His help to get you through it, and praying for that situation, whatever it is, a person, a job, or anything that is not going your way, and handing it over to Him, because destined for much more than what we think in our minds we're destined for. Work that one out for yourself. Sishum, that's a pearl. Because God wants to give us much more than what we think we want. He gives us already what we need. But He be destined for much more than that. And God ultimately promised to give us that. But we have to accept that it will come on His time and not our own time. The 12th step, the last one, or not the step, the reward and promise is that we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Amen to that statement. God is taking care of things outside that I can't do for myself. God is taking care of my family. God is taking care and making sure that whatever it is that I want to accomplish is already in His plan for me. And the concept of a higher power is central to our recovery program. This higher power, which is God, becomes a guiding force in our life. And amen that God has guided us this evening to be sitting in this room, to be clean and sober. Whether we had a bad day or something in us was feeling a bit battling, we have found a guiding force that has brought us to this point, that we are clean and sober this evening. That's ultimately what I'm grateful for. For someone like me that's been using drugs for over 17 years and started at the age of 10, I tell you something, it's a miracle for me sitting here this evening. I don't have to go outside to go look for the miracle. The miracle is right here in front of me. For everybody sitting here in front of me, clean and sober. The miracle is right here on the other side of this camera with the people as well. That's clean and sober. With the milestone of Gary coming up tomorrow for being 2 years clean. That's a miracle, my brother. God bless you and your family. That encourages me to still push forward. To still continue to do what I have to do, no matter how hard it is for me, no matter how the battle gets for me. Even though there are some days I feel I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. But I find myself fighting and pushing through it because God is getting me through things that I can't get through on my own. There were times on the farm that I woke up in the morning and I thought I can't get through this day without it. And I put my head on the pillow and I realized I actually got through this day. Wow, what got me through this day? Maybe there is a living God, eh? For me, that word maybe isn't there. There is a living God that's taking care of me and my family. That's taking care of things that I cannot take care of. He takes care of my family better than what I can. No matter how clean or how long clean and sober I'll be. The ultimate reward out of everything that I've just read and what I take out of Mr. Hall's sobriety is that how his mother is now, his mom that's there in the room now, that he can take care of her. I want to do that for my mother one day. To take care of her in my home. In my home. To take care of her. I want to do that for my mother one day. That's what I owe to my mother. My mother doesn't owe me anything. She's been the best mother that she could for me. The best mother. There was nothing wrong with you, mommy. And you know what? Thank you for everything you done for me, mom. I don't say it enough, maybe. I think I never said it in the beginning too much, because I wanted to show in my actions. But I really appreciate everything that you've done for me, mom. And with Mr. Hall empowering my life to this point where I'm at now, one day I want to take care of my mother like Mr. Hall takes care of his mom. That's the ultimate reward sobriety has offered him. For that, I'm ever grateful to be in that presence, even to see it firsthand. And if it's not for your mother or anybody, maybe a loved one like your son or any family member that's important to you, to take care of them, to look after them, if they are not capable of looking after themselves. Amen. Those are the 12 rewards and promises of sobriety. If you want what we have, you must be willing to take certain steps. But ultimately, those promises will come through for your life halfway through. Like it said in the first one, changes will occur if you fully commit yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually to this program. And you will accomplish much more than any materialistic thing can offer you in this world. And you will find true freedom, true peace and serenity in life. I'm grateful I have that this evening. So from my side, thank you very much for listening to me, guys. I hope everybody has a lovely evening going forward. May God continue to bless you and your family. And this meeting is called the 12 Promises of Sobriety. My name is Adrian, and I'm a recovering addict empowering lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian.